Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. Coming up in today's newscast, Israel continues anti-tunnel operations on the Gaza border. ILTV looks into how an Israeli charity is helping out Holocaust survivors, and say hello to the new Jewish Han Solo. We'll reveal how one Jewish actor became a Hollywood star. I'm Natasha Kirchek here with the latest news in Israel. Tensions are continuing to escalate on the Gaza border, and Israel's vowed to keep finding and destroying terror tunnels built by Hamas. Despite a number of recent conflicts between Hamas and Israeli forces, Hamas claims it's not looking for a war with Israel.
نحن إذ لا ندعو لحرب جديدة لكننا لا نسمح إطلاقا بهذه التغولات والتوغلات وفرض الوقائع على أهلنا وعلى غزتنا المحاصرة. أول هذه الرسائل أن المقاومة لن تسمح لجيش الاحتلال الإسرائيلي أن يفرض معادلة جديدة داخل حدود غزة، وأن المقاومة لن تسمح بإنشاء ما يسمى بالمنطقة العازلة. خرجت قوات الاحتلال من المناطق التي دخلت بها، ولكننا نؤكد مجددا أن ذلك خرق فاضح وواضح ومعهود ليس جديد على المحتل لتفاهمات التهدئة التي تمت بوساطة الأشقاء في مصر.
Despite the terror group's statements, Israeli security sources say the IDF will continue conducting operations to uncover and destroy cross-border attack tunnels over the coming week. But the army is also working to calm down tensions on the border. This all comes as Israel discovered a second tunnel at the end of last week, but security sources say the Hamas tunnel infrastructure isn't anywhere near the vast network the group had built before the 2014 Gaza war. Israeli officials claim there's no current substantial danger of renewed warfare on the Gaza border. Apart from all the fighting on the border last week, 2 rockets were also fired into Israel from the Gaza Strip. Let's take a look at what happened and how it's been affecting Israeli citizens in the area. In the past week, 2 rockets were fired into Israel, and Hamas fired at Israeli troops while they were working to destroy tunnels inside Gaza. The area around Gaza was also declared a closed military zone over the weekend. But that declaration has now been cancelled, so starting this morning, Israeli farmers have been allowed to return to their fields. Israeli residents in the area say overall they haven't been affected very much by the escalation.
Life in the kibbutz is pretty ordinary and beautiful. As you can see, it's quite quiet here, and during the night we heard some boom. There was noises from the border.
Yesterday, Israeli fighter jets also struck Hamas targets in the southern Gaza Strip in response to a rocket attack. It was Israel's 5th airstrike since Wednesday, when tensions spiraled over IDF efforts to locate attack tunnels dug by Hamas from Gaza into Israeli territory. The rockets landed in an open area of the Eshkol Regional Council, and there weren't any injuries or damage from the rocket fire. On Thursday, a Palestinian woman was killed when an Israeli tank shell hit her home east of Khan Yunis. Despite the increased tensions between Israel and Hamas over the last week, the past year and a half has been the quietest on the Gaza border in over a decade. It remains unclear if tensions will continue to escalate, or if the brief exchange will soon come to a close. The Palestinian Authority used to pay the salaries of terrorists who are imprisoned by Israel, but they claim to have stopped. Yet now it looks like nothing has changed. The Palestinian president has confirmed that the PA is still paying for terrorists. This week, the Norwegian foreign minister was in Ramallah to meet with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, and demanded that the PA stop using its funds to support terrorists. The PA's funding includes donations from foreign countries, and he demanded that the Palestinian Authority stop using its funds to support terrorists. The PA's funding includes donations from foreign countries, and the authority has previously said that it stopped paying terrorists. But when Abbas was questioned about the practice by Norway, he simply said the Palestinian government isn't using Norwegian money to pay for terrorists. In 2014, the Palestinian Authority promised to stop paying terrorist salaries through the Prisoners' Affairs Ministry. The ministry was abolished and all the funds were rerouted to the PLO, which doesn't receive any international funds. But now a new report by the Palestinian Media Watch says the change was only superficial, and claims the Palestinian Authority still pays Palestinian terrorists. They're not paying a small amount of money either. In 2014, the PA gave the PLO's Commission of Prisoner Affairs $481 million to be given to Palestinian terrorists who were imprisoned by Israel for terrorist activities. Being sick is not only physically challenging, but it can also be mentally challenging. While classical medicine can treat the physical symptoms of a disease, there's not always an easy answer to treating the mental stresses that accompany it. Shiri Ben-Artzi is the founder of the Medical Coaching Institute, and she joins us with more. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us about what your company does.
Well, MCI, the Medical Coaching Institute, basically trains coaches to be medical coaches. So medical coaching is a niche within life coaching, and this niche focuses on supporting and coaching people that are coping with a medical illness or medical crisis, and or their caregivers. Can be family members or medical professional caregivers.
So how did you come up with the idea to start this institute? Where did it come from?
Wow. Well, it came from my own experience. I was diagnosed with a life-threatening illness about more than 17 years ago. And as I was going through my own journey of coping, I realized that I had amazing doctors, but there was no one there to help me create the emotional and mental resilience I needed to cope with all the challenges that an illness brought into my life. So this is what we do as medical coaches. As my condition got better, I realized there's a real need here.
Absolutely.
So I created this niche.
So what kind of response have you gotten so far by people who use this method?
Wow, we get amazing responses all over the world. We work with insurance companies, we work with hospitals, we work with charities, we work with patient advocacy associations, and we get amazing responses both from our clients, whether they're patients or caregivers, and also from doctors and medical facilities that realize the added benefit of having a patient that is supported. But not only that, today hospitals also refer staff members to get medical coaching because they realize the impact of chronic stress and burnout on staff members.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're dealing with a serious disease, there are a lot of effects that people don't really think about, that aren't necessarily physically visible. So are there any special success stories that you can tell us about?
Wow, there are a lot, and there is an issue of confidentiality that I need to be careful of. But I will say this, that we have saw that when we come to hospital to help people prepare for medical procedures, to help people prepare for a meeting with a doctor, we see that, first of all, people experience themselves in a different way. They are very much focused on rehabilitation and what happens after. There's a shift in the state of mind, and there's an empowerment that suddenly appears, and that really changes the whole interaction and the way people react to medication. They're basically emotionally and mentally available to get the best out of the medical treatment that they're getting.
Okay, so now, if someone's interested in getting involved with what you're doing, seeking help, how can they get involved?
Well, first of all, check our website, mci-il.com. See if there's a medical coach in your area, a medical coach that speaks your language. And if you're interested to become a medical coach, well, check us out again, because we're coming to the US in November to train the first medical coaching community in the US. So that's going to be exciting.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your help.
Thank you for having me.
Last week, we told you about Holocaust Memorial Day and how Israel is choosing to commemorate it. But what's the status of the Holocaust survivors who are still living in Israel today? ILTV's Denise Wood went to the Yad Ezer Lechaver home for Holocaust survivors in Haifa to give you an inside look at how one charity is working to help give them a higher quality of life in the Holy Land.
There are around 200,000 Holocaust survivors living in Israel, and about a third of them face financial hardships. The Israeli nonprofit organization Yad Ezer Lechaver has teamed up with the International Christian Embassy in Jerusalem to honor these survivors and give them a home.
בין התורמים יש לנו נוצרים אנגליסטים שאוהבי ישראל, והם שמעו על הפרויקט הזה גם בגרמניה, שאנחנו הקמנו את הבית היחידי שניצולי שואה יכולים לגור בחינם ובסכום סמלי, ואז הם החליטו לתרום, והם הפכו להיות שותפים לפרויקט הזה עם הרבה אהבה.
The charity CEO, Shimon Sabag, says he noticed an increasing number of Holocaust survivors showing up at the soup kitchen, and he knew something had to be done.
ואמרתי, לא יכול להיות שיהיו ניצולי שואה שעמדו לפני 70 שנה במחנות עבודה, מחנות השמדה, גטאות, לקבל את המזון שלהם, והיום, ב-70 שנה אחרי, יצטרכו שוב פעם לעמוד בתור לקבל מזון.
The project has helped build bonds between the international Christian community and Israel. And surprisingly, the majority of the $1 million needed to finance the project came from German Christians, who the organization believes are trying to make up for their national history.
אין ספק שנוצרים גרמנים במיוחד ואוונגליסטים, יש להם אחריות מוסרית כלפי מה שההיסטוריה עשתה.
I feel that the younger generation they're not the guilty party, and all the guilty party, they're all dead.
And the money has certainly been well used. The money bought and renovated a 4-story facility in Haifa that provides residents with free housing, food, and medical care.
It's very, very nice and cozy inside, and the residents have everything they need. Beds, furniture, cupboard, television, LCD, everything they need, they have here.
Currently, the facility only hosts around 100 people, but more than 2,000 Holocaust survivors applied for spots.
אני מקבל המון טלפונים של ניצולי שואה שהם אומרים לי, קשה לנו, כבר אנחנו עולים לקומה שלישית, קשה לנו בדירה שלנו, אין מי שיבשל עבורנו, אין מי שיטפל בנו, אז אני ממש חרד לשמוע את זה, וזה עושה לי לא טוב לשמוע שיש הרבה אנשים שצריכים את המקום, ומאידך, ומי שנמצא פה, זה עושה לי טוב. כל ניצול שואה שמכניס לפה זה כמו תינוק חדש לבית הזה.
In the meantime, Yad Hazeh Lechaver and the ICEJ are continuing to work to take care of Holocaust survivors and let them live out their lives in dignity.
It's looking like Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump will be the new U.S. presidential candidates. But which of the candidates will be better for Israel? Republican candidate Donald Trump has been at the forefront of lots of controversy, and we want to take a special look at his views about the Holy Land. ILTV's Steve Leibowitz sat down with leading Israeli political commentator Professor Shmuel Sandler from Bar Ilan University.
That's the big question. I think since the 1920s, we didn't, maybe Eisenhower was the only exception, we didn't have a president that didn't have any political past. And how does a guy who comes from the business world become a president? How does he learn foreign policy? How does he learn domestic politics? He'll make mistakes, definitely, if he becomes president. And that's a big if. However, maybe this is his strength, and undoubtedly that is what brought him into the place where he is. People didn't want anymore a politician. And we see it also on the Democratic side, in the lower tone. It's changing America.
Donald Trump has been speaking out somewhat on Israeli issues, but it's kind of a mixed signal. At one point he said that he would be even-handed about the Israeli-Arab conflict, and now he's actually encouraging Israel to continue building settlements. What do you make of that?
Yeah, that's something new. This we didn't hear from almost any, I don't remember the last president, maybe Romney hinted that he'll be lean on it, but we didn't hear such a statement in a long time. Which again shows that we are now already going into the real fight. The real fight will be between him and Hillary, and he's challenging her. And one of them definitely will be settlements. And he wants the Jewish vote. He wants, probably, with all his money, he still is going to need funding. And especially he needs two very important states, that's New York and Florida, where he might need the Jewish right-wing vote. And that's how I can explain what he said yesterday. I would say also that maybe Donald Trump is also looking for the evangelical vote. And it's not a coincidence that he came out with that statement, because we know that the evangelists are for settlements.
Now, Hillary Clinton, a Democrat, well known, was elected in the state of New York. She's a woman who has a record as Secretary of State, including quite a bit of criticism of Israeli policies, yet she is a friend of Israel, is she not?
Yes, she is a friend, even maybe she's not a friend of the current government, but she is a friend. Her supporters are Jewish, a lot of them. Even one of them is Israeli, past Israeli. And she definitely would be, if I can understand, I mean, the thinking that's going to be going on in Israel would be, even though we have some fear from her, she's still the devil we know is better than the devil we don't know. And that's why even Israel, definitely the Israeli Prime Minister is not going to interfere this time.
So if you were walking into the Prime Minister's office and whispering into Netanyahu's ear on the eve of the elections in the United States, who would you tell him is best for the Jews?
I would tell him the truth. I don't know. And I would say to the Prime Minister, listen, what's important for you now is the American Jewish support. Don't interfere, and wait and try to strengthen your position among the Jewish community, which is, last few years, it's not taken for granted anymore. There is a strong critique of Israel and the American Jewish community, and I would try to reassemble them and bring them together in support of Israel, because whoever is going to be the winner is still going to have to think about the next election. And for both, it's going to be a first term, and that's why the Jewish community would be very important for the Prime Minister. So that's what I would tell him. Concentrate on the American Jewish community.
Professor Shmuel Sandler, thank you so much for being with us at ILTV.
If you're not in the mood to go to another bar or bat mitzvah, think twice. You could end up meeting the world-renowned movie director Steven Spielberg, and he could end up turning you into a star. That's what happened to the Jewish actor Alden Ehrenreich, and he's now set to become Hollywood's new Han Solo. Ehrenreich is about to star in a new film about Han Solo's backstory. If you don't know who Han Solo is, you've probably been living under a rock. The fictional character is one of the chief protagonists in the Star Wars franchise, and one of the most well-known characters in the world. When Star Wars first came out, Harrison Ford starred as the original Han Solo. Now 26-year-old Ehrenreich is reportedly finalizing negotiations to be the next Han Solo, beating out around 2,500 actors who also reportedly auditioned. Ehrenreich's big Hollywood break came after he screened a homemade movie at a friend's bat mitzvah. Director Steven Spielberg happened to be at the ceremony and was so impressed that he invited Ehrenreich to meet with him at the DreamWorks studio. Ehrenreich was soon introduced to filmmaker Francis Ford Coppola, who cast him as a lead in the 2009 film Tetro. His performance was so good that film critics dubbed him as a new Leonardo DiCaprio when the film came out. And now for our Hebrew word of the day. It's Mother's Day in the United States, and even though Israelis aren't celebrating, it's just another good reason to give a gift to mom. So today's word is prachim, which means flowers in Hebrew. There's nothing like a fresh bouquet of prachim to put a smile on a loved one's face. Prachim have a lot of positive power, and one of the most popular phrases in Israel is prachim bekaneh, or flowers in cannons. Israel is in a constant state of conflict, but between the fighting, Israelis like to remember that there are still flowers on the horizon. After all, the world looks a whole lot brighter with flowers in the distance. So if you're really trying to get on someone's good side, just surprise them with some prachim. Let's go ahead and take a look at the weather forecast. It's the beginning of a new week. Today it's 73 and sunny in Tel Aviv. It should continue to warm up this week, and Monday is expected to be 76 degrees and partly cloudy. All right, everybody, that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.79 shekels to the American dollar. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at ILTV.tv, and don't forget to check out our evening update every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tonight.